Some may say one of the best players to have ever played this game, Mike Trout. Perry Minasian, the GM of the Angels, joining me now. And Perry, Mike Trout sat down with Ken Rosenthal with MLB on Fox and said, we got to get there this year. No pressure, right?
Hey, we've got a group that's really motivated. They want to win, and that's fine with me. I do too.
Yeah, no question about it. And you guys have all of the pieces this year. Unlike in years past, you had come into this season, Perry, you said pitching was a priority, and you did it. Pitching has been tremendous for you guys to complement your lineup. What has impressed you the most about your arms?
I think it's the makeup of the group. It's a really tight-knit group. It's guys that put the work in day out. They have great routines. It's an attack mentality. You know, there's a long way to go. We've gotten off to a good start, but we all know there's a long way to go. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. So we've got a lot of work in front of us. We realize that, but you know, it's an impressive group of guys that are really, really motivated.
What's been impressive to me about your arms in particular is, of course, we know what Noah Syndergaard can do when he's healthy. We saw him do it there with the Mets. Of course, Shohei Ohtani is one of the most unique and dynamic players in all of baseball, doing it on both sides. But Patrick Sandoval has really come into his own. And by the way, Reed Detmers has a no-hitter under his belt already and still has rookie status. Who stood out to you?
I think the whole group in general, everybody's done a little bit of everything, and obviously the younger guys. I think last year we did not have the best season. We know that. We won 77 games, but a lot of these guys were able to experience pitching and pitching every sixth day because we have a six-man rotation, and they went through some ups, went through some downs, and I think it's helped prepare them for this year. So, you know, Reed, obviously high draft pick, high expectations, but you know, the makeup's outstanding. The stuff is good. He knows how to pitch. He's got feel. He attacks the strike zone, and Sandy's been outstanding. Yeah, it's left-handed with big weapons, and one thing about Patrick, he loves to compete. So both those guys have been really, really impressive.
Yeah, I don't want to leave Michael Lorenzen out of that fold either. He's been good for you guys as well. Another guy that's been pretty good for you, Perry, is Taylor Ward. And this is a man that Joe Maddon said, yeah, he has the potential of being a good major league outfielder, perhaps a fourth outfielder for the Halos this year. And by the way, he's only leading the league in average. No big deal. What's been the key for him?
Yeah, all the credit in the world goes to Taylor. We did some things at the end of spring training to open up a spot in the outfield, open up at bats, and he was one of the guys who really concentrated on, thought could take that next step if given the opportunity. And obviously he's made the most of it, and just the way he prepares, and he's very robotic in the sense that the routine is outstanding. He shows up, he does what he needs to do to prepare to play mentally, physically. He studies the pitchers probably as much as anybody on the club. And he's been pretty fun to watch in the batter's box right now.
He has more home runs and more walks already in 2022 than he did in all of last season. The two things that you cannot defend, a walk and the long ball. Speak to his approach at the plate and his patience, not chasing.
That was one of the things that was really attractive about him, and again, warranted an opportunity. It was just his decision-making at the plate. And it's a tough at bat. It was a tough at bat last year. He makes good decisions. He swings at good pitches, swings at strikes. And when you combine the decision making with the power, you know, there's power to all fields. That's where some of the elite hitters come from. So hopefully he can continue to do this the rest of the year.
Your choices are paying dividends in 2022, but I want to take you back to the draft if you can entertain this for just a moment, Perry. You guys drafted all pitchers, all of which were college guys, all except one were college pitchers. Have you ever been involved in a draft like that, and how hard was it to stick to your plan when perhaps you knew that there was an impact position player that maybe you could have gotten, but you were really focused on arms?
Yeah, it was tough. It was tough. We walked into the draft room. That was not the plan walking in. And the more we looked at the board with the staff, and we felt like because of the shortened draft the previous year, there were a lot of quality arms that were that could be had in later rounds. So, you know, talking to the staff and again going through the board and just needs, and there was no secret here. We need to do a better job of developing our own, especially in the mound, and that's something that is a huge goal for us. And and we attacked it. We attacked it in the draft, and we felt like we took some pretty good arms, and hopefully it pays dividends down the road. But the amateur staff deserves all the credit. Ray Montgomery, Matt Swanson were obviously huge parts of that. Rick Wilson, and the rest of the staff. I mean, it's a group effort, no doubt about it.
All pitchers in the draft, and you need them because you guys have a 6-man rotation. A lot of the purists say, no, that's not going to work for us. It doesn't matter. It's working for you guys. What are some challenges of that, and how has it paid dividends for you?
I think the group we took, again, is high character. It's a high character competitive group, and they've had some early success at some higher levels. We've been really aggressive with where we've placed some of our arms, and basically our whole AA staff was built around last year's draft. So, but with that being said, they've risen to the challenge, and Chase Silseth's a great example of that. Limited minor league starts, but work ethic, makeup, had an unbelievable offseason, did exactly what we've asked him to do. Came into camp and really wowed, and had a good first month, and we felt like he was ready to go. He had obviously a good opening act. We'll see if that continues, but we really, really like him and his future.
Yeah, you bring up a good point. I wanted to ask you about Chase Silseth because he's the first pitcher or player to come out of that 2021 draft. Where is the balance, Perry, between getting a guy up to the big leagues that has had success at the minors, but also making sure you're not bringing them up too quickly?
I think there's no secret sauce. There's no one way to do things. I think it depends on the individual, and that's what we do here. Everything's based on the individual player. There's no black and whites. It's where is this guy mentally? Where is he physically? Do we think he can handle it? And Chase checked all those boxes and obviously earned the opportunity. And that's something else that we've talked about a ton in this organization, is just earning things. And the way he handled his business this offseason, he was one of the guys that came right after the holidays and had a good 2-month stretch where he worked as hard as anybody to get his body in the right place, and mentally, I think what he went through last year, was struggling in AA early coming out of the draft, I think helped him prepare for this season. So again, we're really excited about his future.
24-15 is where you sit, just one game behind the Houston Astros. How nice is it to actually be in competition, have a 2-horse race instead of a 1-horse race in the AL West? I mean, you guys are going for it.
Yeah, it's a good division. Yeah, I think it's more than a 2-horse race. Obviously, we played Texas the last 2 nights. They played us really tough. They have a really talented team. Seattle's really talented. Oakland has some really good young players. Houston's obviously been the class of the division over the last 6-7 years. So we definitely have our work cut out. But again, we're really excited about the group of players we have.
All right, Perry Manassian, one of the architects of the Angels in Anaheim. Thanks for your time today. Best of luck against Texas today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.